where a lot of things could happen. Like both trainers really going to need to think hard about this one. Amoonguss' Rage Powder could be a key factor in this turn, but you know, Chinpo's got to be a little bit careful otherwise, where the Urshifu could break through that Focus Sash, potentially the Sorcery Strikes. On the other side of the field, currently there's no Farigiraf, right? So the threat of a Sucker Punch is significant, but it could be in the back, so do you risk clicking it?
It's certainly a dicey one, but if you can get an advantage here, you could really be accelerating yourself towards a World Championship. Chien-Pao once again leaves the field, just comes in, checks out what's going on, and bounces out once again for the Urshifu, looking pretty similar from Shohei in the beginning of this game. We're getting the turn 1 Terrestrialization, and it's going to be the Dragapult this time, so making sure it gets to boost up some of those very threatening attacks with the Ghost-type Terra. That is going to make Phantom Force or Terra Blast pretty terrifying. Urshifu starting off with the Surging Strikes into the Amoonguss, just getting down a little bit of damage. It's not going to be super effective, but I think just any damage is going to be exactly what he wants onto this Amoonguss. Dragapult will be moving next and is given the opportunity to see what it can do. It is Terra Blast being locked in. It is heading towards the Amoonguss. It was such a problem in game number 1, and Amoonguss able to take that. It's able to eat its berry, and it's all in from Michael on that turn. He wants to get rid of the Amoonguss, but he's just not able to as it fires back with a Spore onto the Dragapult.
And now it's the second game in a row where that Dragapult can't make it through a single turn without falling asleep. And Amoonguss critically healing up there. With that Citrus Berry, I think it's just enough health where it should fairly comfortably survive another Surging Strike. So, you know, a bunch of damage taken, but no real harm done yet for Shohei's side of the field.
And Shohei did all that without having to give up his Terrestrialization. Being able to hold on to that for the rest of the game is really, really important. A definite big turn for Shohei there. Also, this Dragapult once again looks really, really vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm not loving the situation, and I think an important thing to keep in mind too is Amoonguss is the Pokemon that took damage, right? Amoonguss, if it switches out of battle using that Regenerator ability, heals HP, so that damage may not even stick.
Yeah, Michael's not going to let that Dragapult go down so easily in this one. Switching it out for the Farigiraf, so it is still a key player. Urshifu will Surging Strike to the opposing Urshifu, just trying to get some damage down on that side of things and see what he's able to do. I am curious as to what the Amoonguss is targeting, but not very effective hits aren't really a big problem here. See, 3 critical hits, not enough to the threatening knockouts. As Urshifu Surging Strikes will land into Farigiraf, they're going to do a whole lot more in this one. But activate the Rocky Helmet here. That's a lot of damage going back towards that Urshifu.
Yeah, it looks like the poke damage of that Surging Strikes not going to be such a big deal on the Urshifu, but hey, all of a sudden it's looking pretty worn down. And we see Farigiraf has another one in its bag of tricks.
Oh, well, the Spore heading towards the Urshifu this time. Shohei is just making sure he can keep those Pokemon sleeping and keep Michael out of this game. But Farigiraf making life a little bit harder for that Urshifu.
Yeah, sort of an awkward situation now where if you try to attack the Farigiraf with the Urshifu, the knockout's going to come at a cost.
Yeah, it's going to be a really
deal. You know, the 2 premier physically attacking Pokemon in this team now are both taking a snooze, and neither of them have set that turn. So they're both going to have to sit in the field for at least 1 turn before they even have the chance of waking up.
Well, Amoonguss has done a lot in this game, and it's being switched out in lieu of the Fluttermane. Urshifu will just remain asleep. It's still at full health, but it is definitely threatened. Urshifu will Surging Strikes once again into the Farigiraf, so it's going to make that trade, right? It's going to make sure that he gets the Farigiraf down. There's not going to be anything like a Trick Room or a Dazzling Gleam coming back in that way. But Rocky Helmet certainly adds up onto the side of Urshifu as it's a straight trade in that one.
Well, I love the move, though. I mean, we're getting very close to a sweep from Team Japan here. We have 2 sleeping Pokemon and 1 unrevealed Pokemon left on Michael's side of the field. Whatever that Pokemon is, it's going to have to do a lot to send us to a Game 3.
It's also going to have to work through this Amoonguss, which is back and looking healthier than ever. It's going up against the Chien-Pao, which is not going to appreciate the presence of that Fluttermane right now. Maybe forced to try and work around that one a little bit more. Urshifu staying asleep. That Urshifu probably needs to wake up and get involved soon.
Oh, yeah. Really soon. And it can't on this turn, right? This Amoonguss is a fantastic spot now where it switched into battle. It got that healing from Regener. generator. We haven't seen the terrestrialization committed on that side of the field yet, so a Rage Powder could look pretty devastating here. Fluttermane can now just start kind of like wailing away with dazzling gleams against a lot of Pokemon that aren't going to take those very well.
No, they're not going to appreciate it very much, so a lot of work that can be done by the Fluttermane and a lot of reliance on the Chien-Pao to try and get the job done right here. Needs to try and find some of those knockouts, maybe make some big calls, some big reads. We are going to get into the terrestrialization from Shohei's side, though, as once again, he is going to be keeping that Amoonguss very, very safe by making it a water type. Let's see what Michael can do in this one. It does get itself nice and safe. Chien-Pao wanting to scout out what's going on, making sure that it's not able to get anything really nasty sent its way. Amoonguss will be redirecting attention with that Rage Powder. Urshifu remaining asleep, and I don't think Urshifu's going to appreciate what's coming next from the Fluttermane. It is, of course, the Dazzling Gleam into the protect of the Chien-Pao, and there the Urshifu is not loving it. An easy knockout for Shohei Kimura in this one. Let's see how much this Chien-Pao can fight back in the following turn. It just protected. I don't know if it has a good answer to the side of this Amoonguss and the Fluttermane right now.
Well, things are looking dire. This Dragapult switched out before it took a turn of sleep, so it's not going to wake up this turn. Chien-Pao just committed its protect. I mean, I guess you go for a double here, just hope something crazy happens, but Fluttermane is going to keep using that Dazzling Gleam, and I just don't see a way out. I think we're about to see Japan take all 3 of the video game championship tournaments.
Chien-Pao's got to do something huge. You've got to buy a ticket to win the raffle, and it's the only thing that will be potentially moving. It is dropped down to its Focus Sash, thanks to that Dazzling Gleam from the side of the Fluttermane. It's got 1 turn to make an impact. It will crunch. It goes into the Amoonguss. It doesn't get any secondary effects. Those Pollen Puff will take out the Chien-Pao, and all Michael Kelsch has remaining in this matchup is a sleeping Dragapult. That Dragapult is in a very nasty situation as Shohei still has 3 Pokemon remaining. Michael throws in the towel, and Shohei Kimura will be